with our chosen fermented food. Atchara was influenced from India with the dish achar, a dish with varieties of fruits and vegetables, which means pickle. The pickling process was used as a solution to preserve excess food for seasons when there was a lack of food production. This dish is made by the pounds at festivals and can be easily made at home with just a cheesecloth, grater, and sterilized jars. Different regions in the Philippines have different combinations of achara. Some households even make their own twists, such as adding raisins, pineapple, or replacing the grated papaya with radish.
The science behind achara fermentation. Fermentation is a metabolic process that produces chemical changes in organic substrates through the action of enzymes. Fermentation is an anaerobic process in which microorganisms like yeast and bacteria break down food components. This gives fermented foods their unique and desirable taste, aroma, texture, and appearance. Lactic acid fermentation may be used to make achara because papaya is the major component and includes sugar and starch, which is converted into lactic acid by lactic acid fermentation. Yeast strains and bacteria, which requires no heat and preparation.
Fermentation is the process of breaking down sugar molecules into simpler compounds that can be intended to produce chemical energy. Chemical energy, generally in the form of ATP, is crucial because it powers a variety of biological functions. Fermentation is anaerobic because it does not consume oxygen. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes, including humans, undergo fermentation. When there is a high energy requirement and oxygen supply is limited, our bodies resort to fermentation. When we engage in intense activity, this is an example. Chara is a traditional Philippine fermented dish made with unripe raw green papaya, fresh raw ginger root, and other raw ingredients in a vinegar base. It is a popular condiment in the Philippines and is often served as an accompaniment to fried or grilled meats and seafood. This pickled dish, also known as achara or atsara, combines shredded unripe papaya with additional ingredients like onions, carrots, peppers, garlic, ginger, corn, and even raisins in a vinegar, salt, and sugar fermenting liquid.
Fermentation is any metabolic process in which the action of microorganisms causes the desired change in food or beverages, whether it's to improve flavor, preserve goods, provide health benefits, or do something else. Fermentation is an ancient method of food preservation that involves bacteria and yeast breaking down carbohydrates like starch and sugar. Lactic acid fermentation is applicable for Atchara. Since the main ingredient of Atchara is papaya, it contains sugar and starch, which is lactic acid fermentation. Yeast strains and bacteria convert starches or sugars into lactic acid, requiring no heat and preparation.
Atchara is a traditional Philippine fermented dish made with unripe raw green papaya, white refined sugar, white distilled vinegar, and other raw ingredients in a vinegar paste. The acetic acid in vinegar brings up the acidity of the vegetable to a point where no microorganisms can thrive. Fermented foods are known to enhance the immune system since it is rich on probiotic bacteria. This dish contains a tremendous amount of nutritional value.
Atchara is a papaya-based fermented appetizer made with vinegar, sugar, and other ingredients. It goes through fermentation, which is the process of sugars or carbohydrates being broken down by microorganism enzymes. It gives the dish a richer flavor, makes it easier to digest, and provides a lot of health benefits.
Fermentation is the process of sugars being broken down by enzymes or microorganisms in the absence of oxygen. Microorganisms such as bacteria and fungi have unique sets of metabolic genes, allowing them to produce enzymes to break down distinct types of sugar metabolites. Fermentation is also quite simple and dates back in China as early as 7000 BCE. A fermented food has been preserved and transformed by bacteria. Usually, that means that the sugar and carbohydrates in the food have been eaten by the good bacteria. The bacteria then convert that sugar into other substances like acid, carbon dioxide, and alcohol. Those substances in turn preserve the food and adds to its flavor. Fermentation encourages probiotics to thrive and is thus good for the human digestive system. Eating fermented foods is thought to be part of a healthy diet.
Fermentation is a natural process through which microorganisms like yeast and bacteria convert carbs, such as starch and sugar, into alcohol or acids. The alcohol or acids act as a natural preservative and give fermented foods a distinct zest and tartness. Fermentation also promotes the growth of beneficial bacteria known as probiotics. Therefore, adding fermented foods to your diet may benefit your overall well-being.